Wowzer. Woo! Twitter is a buzz today with all kinds of stuff. And I know some of you aren't on Twitter, so stick with me and we're going to go through some of the posts. I'll be right back in a minute. Hey everybody, this is Deb with Truthification Chronicles, and first of all, welcome to the live chat. Okay, I'm sorry I can't do a live stream with you right now, but this is the next best thing, right? At least I'm in there and I can chat with you. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. And we're just going to have a good time in the chat. And I'm working on another live stream maybe next weekend. So I have to get with Eric and find out what he can do and what his schedule is. So hopefully we can work something out. Anyway, I'll let you know. All right. So let's get going on this. Twitter has been a hubbub of news today. Everybody's weighing in on the whole Supreme Court thing and Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And oh my goodness, it's all just going crazy. Now, I had some people ask me about my last video. If you haven't seen that, you might want to check that out. But the whole idea that if they'd have left Ruth Bader Ginsburg in there, then she would have been able to break ties. And no. You don't understand what they're trying to do. If you remember the Transition Integrity Project, they're trying to create chaos around this election because the chaos is what they need to basically take down the government, which is what they're trying to do. You know that. And like I said in this video, it's being promoted by the Chinese government because there's a lot of Chinese ties in some of these groups that are causing the problems. So anyway, I really wanted to make sure that you kind of got that connection and a little overview. I just think they're trying to create chaos. And if rulings go from the Supreme Court, if they can't make an actual ruling on it, it's tied, then it goes back to the lower court ruling. And that's going to tick off a whole lot of people. I mean, it's one thing if the Supreme Court, weighs in on something and they make a decision that's not what some people want, but it's something totally different when it's a lower court because the Supreme Court couldn't make up their minds and were tied. So anyway, that's my thinking on it. And I just think the timing was very interesting that it happened on day 45 before the election. So anyway, let's get going because I've got a ton of stuff to share with you. Anyway, with this, we want to start out with President Trump because, he's the man. And he says to the GOP, "We were put in this position of power and importance to make decisions for the people who so proudly elected us, the most important of which has long been considered to be the selection of United States Supreme Court justices. We have this obligation without delay." Okay, that's his marching orders to the GOP. Get your butts going because we're going to get this done. But, on the other side of the campaign trail, here's what's going on. Yeah, the Biden campaign has called a lid at 8:35 a.m. per pool. So we won't see Joe Biden today, is what Pat Ward has to say. And Jim DeMint responds, "Are Democrats okay with this? An iconic liberal SCOTUS justice has died. His party is in disarray," meaning Joe Biden's party, not hers, obviously. Although it was hers too. "And calling for riots, and he can't talk to the press at all. If he's not able to provide leadership, why is he running? Time for the press to stop coddling him and demand access and answers." I agree. I mean, that's just crazy. Of all days for him to call a lid, the lid is where they're not going to talk to the press. Okay. So why in the world would you do that? That he's not able to talk to the press and get out there and, I don't understand this. I can't understand why anybody would vote for a man who can't be out of his, basement for more than, a few hours. Okay, well, this is what The Hill says. Democrat senator calls for eliminating filibuster, expanding Supreme Court if GOP fills Ginsburg vacancy. Well, that's not going to happen unless you guys are in charge. So this is all the more reason we've got to get these senators in. Republican senators, we've got to not only have the ones that we have now, but we need to increase because we've got a few of those rhinos in there, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But let's just see what some of these people had to say. You know what? It's coming back to bite them in the butt because in 2016, here was the situation, okay? Scalia passes away under interesting circumstances, and we have Barack Obama weighing in and demanding that the Senate fill the Supreme Court vacancy. And now, guess what? He's not so much into that. Now it's, oh, no, you can't do that. But the problem was, back then, they had the White House, but they did not have the Senate. The GOP had the Senate. And because of that, he nominated, but it wasn't going to go anywhere because the Senate was going to vote. And the Senate wasn't going to vote for his nominee. So it didn't matter. It was kind of a moot point, really, because they weren't going to do it until the election. And that was the situation we had then. But here, look at this. We have the White House, we have the Senate, and that means that the Senate will move on the president's confirmation. So I just think it's really funny. And if you go through and you see these posts that they made back then, which is some of them we're going to see, and we're going to find out that they were all over it. Summer's almost over, Senate leaders, do your job. The Senate returns from recess next week. This is what should be at the top of their to-do list, fill the Supreme Court vacancy. Yep, that's what they wanted. And this goes through and, here we go. Obama had all these different things. When you go under the hashtag do your job, a lot of them now are putting in posts on that too. So you'll see a lot of them from today, but you'll also see a lot of people from the past. And so that's what we're going to look at. Look at this. This is Dianne Feinstein. And this is from March 3rd, 2016. And she says, deadlocked court could deny justice, create uncertainty in law. And that's what I think they really want to have. I mean, that's why I think, the timing of this is very interesting and everything. So then she delivered these remarks on the Senate floor, and she was talking about this, and she's trying to say all these things. Not a single nominee for a vacancy has been denied a hearing ever. Ties in the Supreme Court create uncertainty in the law. Important legal questions go unanswered. The law varies then throughout the country, and people and businesses often fail to receive justice. So you've got to fill it. All of us swore an oath to fulfill the Constitution, and I truly hope my Republican colleagues will think about this, will think about what will happen next year. The funny thing is, the Constitution says that the Senate has to approve the nomination. They have to confirm that person. So it didn't matter. Obama could have nominated as many people as he wanted to, but the power was in the hands of the Senate because they confirmed the people. And if they weren't going to confirm it, it didn't matter how many he put in there and nominated. It's just funny. But, if this president is denied this appointment for the remainder of this year, and a judgeship is certainly delayed way past that point, it's just going to cause a constitutional crisis, which I do think that right now, like I said, I think that's what they were planning on, that they could block having anybody put in there. And then when all of this election stuff hits the fan after the election, there are going to be legal battles up the wazoo. And that's what I think they're counting on, that it's going to create even more chaos, more reasons to complain. Anyway, Mark Thiessen here says, in 2016, RBG broke precedent and weighed in on President Obama's right to replace Antonin Scalia. There is nothing in the Constitution, she said, that says the president stops being president in his last years. There you go. So even the woman herself said, guess what? The president's still the president. It's kind of funny. But yeah, she herself says constitutionally, they should be able to appoint. Well, and the thing was with Obama, he could nominate, But the Senate has to confirm. That's what the Constitution says. And they didn't hold the Senate. Fortunately, we do. Boy, that was the biggest thing we had to have. Anyway, I wanted to share this thread with you because I think it's really good. This is from Brian Cates, who writes for the Epoch Times. And this right here, I think, is an important factor. President Trump should nominate the best qualified woman this time out. And I think that's what the plan is, to be honest. I mean, I know there are a lot of good men on that list, but I think he's going to have to choose a woman just because of everything that happened with Kavanaugh. And he says 2 reasons for this. 1, it robs the Democrats of screaming over altering the gender makeup of the Supreme Court by replacing a woman with a man. And 2, it robs Democrats of repeating the Kavanaugh strategy. And so he goes on through this and reminds you of what happened with Kavanaugh. I mean, we need to remember that, folks, because that was horrible, horrible, horrible. And if you go down through this, he makes a lot of good points and does a lot of good reminding us of what was going on. Just remember that even if you don't have Twitter, you can always go to the links that I'm putting down below and you can read through things. You just can't react to them or anything. You can't like give them a thumbs up or, well, a heart or whatever. You can't share them, obviously, if you don't have an account. But you can, copy and paste and put them into Facebook or whatever, do screenshots and send them that way. And links work also for Facebook. Anyway, so this was a really good one. And this is what I was thinking too. I said this, a long time ago, that the next one has to be a woman. It just is going to have to be, in my opinion, that's what's going to happen. Well, here's another one. This one's by Kamala Harris. It's been 200 days since Merrick Garland was nominated to the Supreme Court. Time to do your job, Senate Republicans. Coming back to bite you in the butt. Yep, there it is. This person 4 hours ago. We're on it. Thanks. I just think it's kind of funny. And then, of course, Hillary, you gotta get her in there. Yeah. Until January 20th, 2017, it's POTUS's job to nominate Supreme Court justices. It's right there in the Constitution. She even shows us in the Constitution where it says, and he shall nominate and by and with the advice and consent of the Senate shall appoint ambassadors, other public ministers and consuls, judges of the Supreme Court. Yeah. But remember, Congress is the one who passes them through, who confirms them. So, yeah, that's it right there. It's in the Constitution. Thank you, Hillary. Oh, but then again, she had this, to say on the whole Merrick Garland thing. And on this, she says here in the middle, evaluating and confirming a justice to sit on this nation's highest court should not be an exercise in political brinkmanship and partisan posturing. It is a serious obligation performed on behalf of the American people to ensure a highly qualified candidate fills a vacancy on the court. That obligation does not depend on the party affiliation of a sitting president, nor does the Constitution make an exception to that duty in an election year. So there you go. Wah, wah. That's just, it goes on here because this is Chuck Schumer. This was back in 2016. Attention GOP, Senate has confirmed 17 SCOTUS justices in presidential election years. Do your job. Oh, it's so funny. They just say it and then it comes back and all of a sudden they're eating their own words. So, yeah, senators refusing to vote on President Obama's nominee to the Supreme Court should recognize that a president is elected for 4 years, not 3. Well, but the Senate is the one that has to confirm. So anyway, that's Ruth Bader Ginsburg herself. And then we have this. Yeah, it's already coming out. The rhinos are coming out of the woodwork. Senator Lisa Murkowski has said she will not vote on any Supreme Court nominee until after the inauguration. There she is. Well, let me remind you of the Kavanaugh picture. Yeah, with Dianne Feinstein there. So, gee, you think Lisa's working on her own? I think not. I mean, look at that face. That woman is terrified. She's being reamed by Dianne Feinstein. And that was during the Kavanaugh hearing, so you would assume the same thing's going to happen here. I'm sure she's going to be under a lot of pressure. You know, in some ways I kind of feel sorry for her. She's just like a puppet. But hey, she made her bed. Now she's going to have to lie in it. But you know what? President Trump has not always been real fond of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. No matter what he said today, okay? I mean, you can look at somebody that you disagree with. You can still recognize the accomplishments they made. And Ruth Bader Ginsburg was kind of, a person that really helped the Supreme Court when it comes to having women on there and everything. So that is something that she did accomplish. I disagree with her with so many things, and I think that she was very destructive to our Constitution. I think a lot of times in her rulings, she disregarded what the Constitution actually said. So anyway, President Trump has not always been very fond of her because she was very political. And he said, is Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg going to apologize to me for her misconduct? Big mistake by an incompetent judge. And that was in July of 2016. So he wasn't president yet. But, that was something that was coming up because she was making a political judgment of him. And she should not have been, because they're not supposed to be political. So this is one of the things that most of us had against Ruth Bader Ginsburg, that she was very political. She didn't mind making political statements. And that's not what the Supreme Court justices are supposed to be doing. So I think that having a replacement for her who is conservative is going to be huge. So anyway, let's go on. And the Federalist has this article here. 3 Supreme Court justices were confirmed in less than 45 days, including Ginsburg. So again, they're trying to set the record straight because these people are putting out information that's not necessarily true. Well, guess what? Ruth Bader Ginsburg's formal Supreme Court nomination was sent to the Senate on June 22nd, 1993. Her confirmation hearing began on July 20th, and the Senate voted to confirm her on August 3rd. The entire process took 42 days. Kind of ironic, huh? The time between the formal Supreme Court nomination of Sandra Day O'Connor and her final Senate confirmation was 33 days. For John Paul Stevens, the formal process took only 19 days. And there are 46 days until the election. I think there's only 45 now. So I may be wrong on that, but I don't know. And so, yes, Trump has time to nominate and get his nominee confirmed to the Supreme Court. Every single vote on a SCOTUS nominee of the last 45 years was voted on in less time than what Trump has between now and the end of his current term. So there's kind of an interesting little chart there on how many days it took. So I just think, Leader McConnell says the Senate and the nation mourn the passing of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg and the conclusion of her extraordinary American life. My full statement. And here is his statement. And he talks about she overcame one personal challenge and professional barrier after another, which is true. She climbed from a modest Brooklyn upbringing to a seat on our nation's highest court and into the pages of American history. True. Justice Ginsburg was thoroughly dedicated to the legal profession and to her 27 years of service on the Supreme Court. Her intelligence and determination earned her respect and admiration throughout the legal world and indeed throughout the entire nation, which now grieves alongside her family, friends, and colleagues. Of course, they have to put in a lot of these niceties. In the last midterm election before Justice Scalia's death in 2016, Americans elected a Republican Senate majority because we pledged to check and balance the last days of a lame duck president's second term. We kept our promise. Since the 1880s, no Senate has confirmed an opposite party president's Supreme Court nominee in a presidential election year. By contrast, Americans re-elected our majority in 2016 and expanded it in 2018 because we pledged to work with President Trump and support his agenda, particularly his outstanding appointments to the federal judiciary. Once again, we will keep our promise. President Trump's nominee will receive a vote on the floor of the United States Senate. So, there you go. It's going to be interesting. So things are heating up here, folks. And the last thing I want to leave you with is this, because guess what? Biden camp gets thousands from Chinese Communist Party employees, including TikTok. Is this not interesting or what? So, $9,500, the sum appears to confirm the findings of a recent U.S. intelligence report insisting the Chinese Communist Party is attempting to secure a Biden victory. And so this employee, Liu Zheng, an employee of China Orient, has donated $750 to the Biden campaign. China Orient is a state-owned asset management company and merchant bank which describes its raison d'etre as fully implementing the requirements of the central government and the arrangements made by the higher authorities. So, yep, there it is. And very interesting. You had 3,000 from this one. China Oilfield Services Limited. And it's a state-owned oil field. You can see here that they are pumping money into the Biden campaign. And I saw somebody on Twitter who said, who thinks that George Soros is behind, all this stuff that's going on? I'm like, not just George Soros, China. China is pumping a lot of money into some specific campaigns because they have a stake in it. And they know that if they get Biden in there, they're going to be able to pretty much do whatever they want, and it will bring about the pretty much destruction of the United States. So we need to get out there and vote, right? Well, you vote once. But I heard that in Indiana, they're starting to send out the ballots. If you have an absentee ballot coming to you, that should be sent out sometime this next week. And hopefully the ballots will start coming back in for Trump. And the last thing I want to leave you with is this. Oh, this is a good clip. Listen to this.
Mr. Vice President, this is Susan Connors, who runs a local HVAC business. She's a Democrat. Susan, welcome.
Thank you, Anderson. Mr. Vice President, I look out over my Biden sign in my front yard, and I see a sea of Trump flags and yard signs. And my question is, what is your plan to build a bridge with voters from the opposing party to lead us forward towards a common future?
Well, you've got it exactly right.
Yeah, she's got it exactly right. Oh, that's the way it is around here. But then again, I live in Indiana, so, you don't expect to see a lot of Biden signs. However, right here where I live, I have seen none. Well, okay, honestly, I saw one Trump sign that had like Trump in the middle and then it had a line through it. So, the no Trump type thing. But it didn't have a Biden sign. It just had a no Trump. So that's the only one I've seen. The rest, I like to drive around the countryside and everything. And it's kind of how I keep my sanity. But I was driving the other day and I saw like several places that had big Trump signs, Trump flags, everything out there. But I'm not seeing any. I mean, no Biden signs. Zero. Not even up in South Bend, because, that's Pete Buttigieg's stronghold there. And it's very Democrat. I have seen none. No Biden signs anywhere. And it's very unusual not to at least see some. It's September. And not even the beginning of September. It's the middle of September. It is election season. Why am I not seeing any signs? I think I know why. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. I thought that was pretty good. That's from the GOP War Room. So they have lots of clips there you can go through. I think it's really a good page to look at. And they're kind of near where I like to give shout outs to, 57.6K. I usually try to get under 50, but this will do for this one, right? Anyway, that's what I've got for you on this one. I want to thank you for stopping by, and I'll see y'all later.